can you know if you are a true Southerner? Now, I've made a video about the correct pronunciation of a certain city before, and everyone who's from that area immediately agrees. That's the way you pronounce it. Very few people can pronounce that city's name, but you can. And so, yes, I have an English degree, so of course I would have to know the right way to pronounce certain words, in theory, but not everybody can pronounce this city. So I say the true test is whether or not you're a true Southerner or not, is if you can pronounce the word right. So you know the word I'm talking about. I want you to name that city in Kentucky. How do you pronounce it?
See, Louisville. Louisville.
Yeah.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
I was trying to say it correctly.
Yeah, but see, if you're not
Louisville.
truly raised as a Southerner, you can't say it right.
Louisville, Kentucky. And really before that, I said Louisville until I was told it was Louisville.
You're still not saying it right. You haven't said it right yet. That's even worse. No.
Louisville.
This is going downhill. This is not good. Now I don't even know this is English anymore. So, Louisville, Kentucky. There. That's it. Louisville. No.
Louisville.
Still not really close. No.
Louisville.
You could say it 100 times, and I don't know that it would get any better than the way you're saying it. Louisville, Kentucky is the right way you say it. Now, to put this in perspective, my mother was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. How old were you when you moved down to the South?
15.
Okay, so those first couple of years as you're learning the English language, you still in what I call is a little bit of a Midwestern accent, is where it really demographically Buffalo falls more into the demographics of Midwestern than it does Northeast, based on where it's placed and the culture and all that stuff. But still, there's something about being raised in the South. You have a way to instinctively know how to pronounce things the Southern way. And that's the thing. Locally where you live, that's the right way to pronounce it. So for example, I suppose the right way to say Chicago is Chicago, I suppose. You almost have to say it with the accent.
Chicago.
For me, it's Chicago. But I know somebody from Chicago and they said, no, that's not how you say it. It's Chicago. So I guess we have to keep that in mind, that if locally that accent, they say it a certain way, then that's the actual correct way to pronounce the name of the city, despite everybody else pronouncing it in theory the right way. They're actually wrong. The majority's wrong. Louisville, Kentucky. And I feel like this video is a test because, try to say it again the right way. If you're trying to say it like I say it.
Try to say it like you're saying it? Louisville.
No.
Louisville.
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 You're getting pretty, now finally you're in the right direction.
Louisville.
You have to have a certain kind of a mumble to it. So to pronounce Louisville, Kentucky the right way, it's Louisville. It's almost like you're taking 3 syllables and put them in one word. Louisville, 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 Louisville.
Louisville.
3 syllables, one word. Louisville.
Louisville.
Like you're just throwing a ball. Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah, see? There. That's
Louisville.
the right way to say it. And clearly, it looks like Louisville. Yes, it looks like Louisville. But in Louisville, Kentucky is in the South, but it borders Indiana. So it's almost in the Midwest. But technically it's still Southern. So that Southern accent is part of the pronunciation of it. You have to have a Southern accent to pronounce it. But for me, unlike my mother, I was born and raised in the South. Born and raised in Alabama, went to school in Virginia, and now I've lived in Tennessee after college. And I've always lived in the South. And even in Nashville, it's not that everyone has a Southern accent, but it's pretty prominent. So it's almost like certain words, like even for me when I was growing up in elementary school, like Tuesday, next Tuesday. It's almost like Tuesday instead of Tuesday. So I'd hear even teachers pronounce it Tuesday. So in my mind, I knew it was Tuesday, but I could hear people pronounce it the Southern way and know, okay, in their mind that's Tuesday. They're just saying Tuesday. So it's almost like you have to pronounce Louisville instead, because even if you were saying Louisville, it's almost like you're taking Louisville and saying it with a Southern mumble. So try it again.
Louisville.
That's pretty good now. Fine. So yeah.
You just kind of have to like blurt it out.
Yeah, you
Sort
really do. It's very guttural. Just
Louisville.
yeah. And the movie Elizabethtown, which my wife and I had recently watched, they have a whole segment on this, where they point this out. Like, most people can't pronounce it right, and that's how you always know someone isn't from the South. And you know, a lot of people will recognize that I don't have a strong Southern accent, and I think part of that is because I grew up with my mother and her parents who didn't have a Southern accent necessarily, but because I heard other accents, mine became a little bit more neutral. But I could still, I can still switch to a Southern accent anytime. Because to tell you the truth, I was born in Fort Payne, Alabama. And my uncle, he was all roll tide. He wanted me to go to University of Alabama, but I ended up not. And you better not ever get caught wearing blue and orange for those Auburn Tigers. See, I was able to do that without thinking about it because I grew up hearing that as a major default. And because I can just switch into that accent, Louisville, Kentucky is no problem. So I really feel, for me, that's the way if you know you're a true Southerner. Not even so much your accent, but can you pronounce Louisville, Kentucky?
Louisville.
Getting pretty good. Comments? Right here.